I have been informed that candidate Smith is here, and without objection, we will allow Mr. Smith to give his 3-minute opening statement. Are there objections? Hearing none, Mr. Smith.
First of all, thank you all for coming. I've been informed that the 2nd District is a long way away. Obviously, it's not as far as perhaps some of the people here think. I'm Chuck Smith, and it certainly is an honor for me to stand here in front of you today. I will tell you that I'm not standing today as a Republican. I'm standing today as a person, and I hope that each of the panelists will join me and stand with you, not as Democrats, not as Libertarians, and not as Independents, but also as people. Because it's high time that the voters look at us as people and that you select the best person that you feel should go to Washington. I will tell you in the 2 minutes that I have a host of pastors who have signed, African-American pastors who have signed to support my candidacy. They've signed for any number of reasons, but these were pastors who stood toe-to-toe with Congressman Scott 18 years ago. They are staunch Democrats, and there's a reason why they support my candidacy. They support my candidacy because the record that Congressman Scott has, his voting record, these spiritual leaders are seeing a great divide between what they preach on Sunday and what Congressman Scott votes for the last 18 years. Prayer in school, Mr. Scott has said no. Protecting marriage, Mr. Scott has said no. Protecting children, Congressman Scott has said no. Faith-based programs, President Obama has said yes, Congressman Scott has said no. Helping ex-offenders find jobs, Congressman Scott has said no. Keeping under God in the Pledge of Allegiance, Congressman Scott has said no. Recognizing Christianity as a major religion, Congressman Scott has said no. Even the importance of religion, the importance of Christmas, Congressman Scott has said no. Now you have a choice. You can vote your faith, you can vote for your family. If you vote for Chuck Smith, I will vote faith and family. I will tell you that I hail from the projects of Greensboro, North Carolina. A lot of you say you see this African American, and I'll tell you, I've been African American a lot longer than I've been Republican. But I had an 11th grade grandmother. I'm sorry, 11th grade grandmother who taught me that faith in God was the most important thing in my life. She kept me in the church. I stayed in the church. I made right decisions. I grew up on, perhaps some of you may know, on mayonnaise sandwiches, on molasses sandwiches, on butter sandwiches. I grew up at a time when all we had to go to church with was butter on our face and not lotion. But I grew up and I made some of the right decisions. I will tell you today that I believe in those values. I believe in the values that Americans are not looking for partisanship in Washington. Americans are not looking for people to stand up in Washington and say, I'm a Republican, I'm voting with them. I'm a Democrat, I'm voting with them. Americans are looking for people to get to Washington to make the right decisions. Not to vote right or left, but to vote what is right. And that's what I intend to do when I get to Washington. Perhaps some of you will say, oh, he's a Republican. Well, let me tell you, if you think the Republican Party is all that it says it is, just think how tough it is for me in the Republican Party. I've stood up to President Bush. I believe he's made some wrong decisions. I believe he has grown the Republican Party when he shouldn't. I believe he has grown the size of government when he shouldn't, and I've called him out on that, and I've said he's wrong on that. I've stood up when Republicans are wrong. I will stand up when Democrats are wrong. I've always stood up. I've joined the Marine Corps as an 0311 during the height of the Vietnam era. I'm a retired Navy JAG lawyer. I've been practicing law for 31 years, and my grandmother, who sits right now, I'm sure, alongside God in heaven, she's looking down on me and she says, Chucky, I am so glad over a few things I allowed you to grow up and learn. You have now made some of the right decisions. I know some of you are committed to Congressman Scott. Perhaps some of you are committed to the other people on this panel. But I ask you to begin making the decisions that will take this country forward and get away from the partisanship. Is that 3 seconds?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay.
Finish.
Okay. All right. I'll stand down. Thank you. Thank you all.